Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we're going to be pivoting today into doing a Madden 24 video. Now, this video will be part of a series of videos that I'm going to run called the Redemption Series. What this series will entail is me going back in time and replaying the career of an NFL bust. Basically, taking them from a bust to taking them to a Hall of Famer. Now, the player that I've chosen to actually start off this Redemption Series is widely considered as the biggest bust in NFL history. Not only did this man stand in at 6'6", 260, but he had an absolute cannon for an arm. He threw for 28 touchdowns against 8 interceptions in his junior season, and he capped off that season with a 300-yard, 2-touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown performance against Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. He ended up winning the Manning Award and made first team All-SEC. But the biggest accolade that I can say for this player is that he was drafted number 1 overall. Now, of course, typically being drafted number 1 overall is a good thing. However, you have to consider that this player was drafted to one of, if not the most dysfunctional organizations in NFL history, led by what is widely considered the most dysfunctional owner in NFL history. Now, no one was around to keep anyone accountable, or to hold anyone accountable. And what ended up happening is this player let his body go. He was not disciplined. No one held him to any type of standard. And he ended up only lasting in the league for 3 seasons. He never got a second chance, and he faded away. And he's now considered one of the biggest busts in NFL history. Now, my goal here is to come in, take control of this organization, and lead this player to a Hall of Fame career. So without further ado, let's get into it.
First off, let me get your name and spelling, please.
Jamarcus, J-A-M-A-R-C-U-S, Russell, R-U-S-S-E-L-L.
What do you do here?
I play quarterback.
The Oakland Raiders select quarterback Jamarcus Russell, LSU.
Yes, as I'm sure you've already guessed, it is Jamarcus Russell. Let's go ahead and jump right into this and see what we can do. Let's go and see if we can build this player into a Hall of Fame quarterback. Now, before we go over franchise settings and roster settings and everything else, I wanted to go over the house rules. These are subject to change. However, this is kind of the guideline that I want to keep. Now, you'll see it says play all offense in division games. It is exactly what it means. I will at no point play defense in this entire series. Number 1, because I don't like to. And number 2, because this is a Jamarcus Russell rebuild. So we are going to focus on him. We may even player lock on him. Not quite sure yet. However, we will be playing all offense in our division games. So that's going to be half the season. We'll be able to play all of the offense. The other half, depending on how it goes, we may, if there's like a playoff, if we're fighting for playoffs or something like that, then I will play the big moments. However, for the offense, it will be us. We will stick to the division games. If we get to playoffs, we'll play all offense, all playoffs. Now, the second bullet here, we're going to try and maintain as much realism as possible. However, we already fired. We already bought the team from Al Davis and fired everyone. So realism is a little bit out the window at this point. But I want to keep kind of the identity of the team together. And the way I think we can do that is to keep 4 original players on offense and defense. Now, these can be players that are already on the roster as of 2007, or it can be players that are yet to be drafted that we still draft that were already originally drafted by the Raiders. So that kind of leads me into my next bullet. We are allowed to make 2 draft picks per year, any round I want. What this basically means is I do not have to go by what the Raiders did, and thank God, because they are horrible at drafting. So basically, what I get to do is choose any 2 rounds I want to, and make whatever draft pick I want to make at that spot. So we will shake it up a little bit. We'll get the league looking a little bit different. From there, though, outside of those 2 draft picks, the remainder of the draft will be simulated, and the players that were originally drafted to the Raiders are going to be added to the wish list or the want list, whatever it's called. And I'm going to order them in the order that they were chosen by the Raiders. And then I'm going to sim it. I'm going to let my GM, my assistant GM, I'll let my assistant GM finish off the draft for me. And we'll see if he picks some of the Raiders that were initially drafted. But these are the house rules for now. I may change them later on, depending on many things. If his overall, if DeMarcus Russell's overall gets better, I'll probably play less. And it'll be more about team building around him. But for now, these are the house rules. So let's go ahead and get into the actual franchise settings. All right, time to get this career underway. Now, first thing we wanted to do here, I wanted to actually show you my settings that I'm going to use for this. These are going to be used for the first season, and then from there, I'm not sure what I'll do, kind of see where it goes. But these are the franchise settings I normally use whenever I do rebuilds or anything, so I know that they work pretty well. So let's go ahead and just go over those now. So I'll just kind of flash my settings here. Of course, on All-Madden difficulty, 10-minute quarters on an accelerated clock. I do have a offensive cooldown, meaning when I call a play, 4 other plays have to be ran before I can call that play again. And I also have a play call limit, meaning I can only call the same play 5 times per game. And then for defense, I just have both of those set to off because I don't really care. Dynamic, momentum, or home field advantage, definitely turn this off whenever you play. It is the most, it's the biggest difference maker possible when it comes to playing Madden. Madden, EA is notoriously bad for introducing these game-breaking features, right, that absolutely destroy the game. So highly encourage to turn this off. Everything else is going to, as far as my team settings, is going to be set to manual. Except for my auto-progress players, I'm going to do that myself, so I don't want them to be auto-progressed. Same thing with my talents. And the pop-ups, who cares? I know how to play this game. It's all good. Trade deadline is going to still be set, of course. Trade difficulty, I have this set to normal for now. We'll see if I move that to hard or very hard later on. But for now, I'll keep it normal. Leave salary cap on. Now, again, another game-breaking feature in Madden is they try to get ahead of the curve when it comes to these quarterbacks getting bonuses. Keep in mind, this is we have this set to 2007, okay? But it's using 2024 salary cap. So what's going to happen, without a doubt, it happens every time, is a young quarterback will get paid just a disgusting amount of money like they're getting nowadays, and it destroys the cap for the entire team. That didn't happen so much back in 2007, so what I might actually do is anytime I see a quarterback re-sign, or I'll go look at who's being re-signed, and I'll put it back to a number that makes more sense for the era. That is the only thing I can do at the time. There is no mod for that at this moment, so can't use a mod for anything salary cap. But I'll go in there and I'll really try and mess with it. Free agent motivation, whatever. Keep it to normal. Practice squad stealing, sure. You can see from here. Now I do have injuries on. I'm going to turn practice injuries off just because it just increases the likelihood that someone gets hurt. And again, Madden sucks with this, so they normally, if this is a setting, they'll exploit it. So do not use this. Turn it off. Same with pre-existing injury. Turn that off. Progressive fatigue is another one that they absolutely overkill with. Turn that off as well. Draft timer, turn that off. You want as much time as you need to draft someone. I'm not doing a fantasy draft, so I don't care. And then free agent negotiations, just leave it as the default. For league type settings, I'm going to keep these all standard as well. Okay. And then for my dev trait management, I will keep breakout scenarios on. And I'll keep regression development on as well. However, I did not leave this to default. I lower this all the way down because if you don't do this, the league is just inflated with all these playmakers. And if you put it up, I mean, I think the default is like 50 or something. So that's way too high for X Factor players. Realistically, there's not 50 X Factor players in the NFL. 25 is more realistic. Same with Superstar and Star Dev. Superstar abilities will stay on. However, I am exploring this a little bit and turning potentially disabling this just to see what it really does to the gameplay itself. It is interesting to think about, and I probably will do some testing with that. For now, though, I'll keep it on. And then all the roster protection stuff is set to by default. I just keep that there. Now the two huge settings that I do change in this not under user settings, it's back under franchise. And God, the menu is so slow. Number one thing is my XP sliders. Okay. Now I did not do any of this testing. I found a really good slider set on Reddit actually, which I'll put it down in the description below. But you can see that it really hinders the quarterbacks. The reason they had to do this was because the way the engine is built, and I'm sure everyone who's played Madden has seen this, the quarterbacks have the most ridiculously inflated stats possible. So all these quarterbacks are gaining all this XP constantly. And 3 seasons in, you have 20 quarterbacks that are 99 overall. So to alleviate that, I went ahead and threw this all the way down to 10 for quarterback progression rate, and then you can see what else. You can just go through and look. However, like I said, I have not done this testing. This testing was done by someone else. They put a lot of work into this, and he explains in detail why these are all set to where they're set, so I won't go over it too much. But you can see that he really focused on the regression as well. So you hit 29 years old, and you start rapidly regressing, which is typically the case. And then the quarterback regression rate is set to much higher as well, and you can just see from there. Like I said, I won't go over it too much. I'll just flash this and then go check out those sliders. Very well done. It makes the experience so much better because you can't just sim a rookie quarterback that was, let's say like 70 overall. You sim it for one season and you can get him up to like 82. Yes, that can happen in real life, but it doesn't happen with every single rookie quarterback. So just something to think about, something to change. And then the second thing I like to change is my gameplay sliders. I got these, I don't remember where, but there was a class on, or there was a custom slider on the Madden creation tab. Just went in there and I kind of messed around with a couple of them. And I think, I actually do think I looked this up on Reddit, and this is the one I found that was best. However, two things that I did change. This guy has it. He originally had it set to 42 for quarterback accuracy. This is awful. You will not hit any. I mean, of the most open receivers possible, you will not hit any of them. If your feet aren't, even if your feet are set, and you take your time, and you really line it up, it doesn't matter. You will miss, and it almost doesn't matter what your overall is with your quarterback or what his individual attributes are. So what I do is put this up to 48. I might even actually put it up to 50, which is the standard. However, on 50, that's when you see, like, you know, you're running back 20 yards and flinging it, and it's perfectly on you know, a perfect dime. So I turn it to 48, and again, I will mess around with this. The second thing is run blocking by default is set way too high, so throw that down to 8. That helps. It makes it so the running game is actually difficult, and it feels so much more rewarding because of it. The last thing I keep these exactly as he had set them, but with the one caveat here is going to be injuries. I think this is like set to, I don't even know, way too high, but there's a horrible injury issue with this specific Madden. So I put this all the way down to 2, and you're thinking, wow, that's insane. No one's ever going to get injured. There's like still like 2 injuries a game. Whatever it was set by default, which I think was like 20 or 25, there was like 10 plus injuries a game, which is not realistic. And there's not just like, oh, ticky-tack stuff here and there. It's like season-ending stuff, or, you know, they're out multiple weeks. So I put that down to 2, okay? Everything else is whatever. Looks like all this is default. I don't mess around with this. Again, if you mess around with this stuff too much, it kind of breaks the game because Madden sucks. But this is what I'm going to go with. So that's my slider set. Okay. Now that we're done with all the settings and everything, I did want to go over a couple of issues with the roster. Now, this roster was specifically created for a mod. So what that mod would do is it would come through and on this file, and when you applied the mod, it would change all the player faces. So you can see like Nnamdi Asomugha here. That's not Nnamdi Asomugha, but if I clicked his player card and see his actual character, it looks more like him. What the mod would do is come through and change all the player faces here, like the actual faces that you see in the menu. And like you'll see here, Robert Gallery. That's obviously not Robert Gallery, but if you go into him and click, they tried to do their best with what Robert Gallery would look like if he had his, you know, put a helmet on that guy. That looks pretty close to Robert Gallery. The funniest one I saw was Warren Sapp. I mean, come on. But again, these are just standard. They basically get overwritten. Those faces do with the mod. However, the mod is currently not working because there was just a Madden update. So what I'm going to do is we're going to still do this season 1, and then I'm going to either apply the mod. Hopefully it works for hopefully the mod's fixed, and then I can use this for future seasons. If the mod's not fixed, we'll just figure it out. Who cares? I'll use your imagination. It's not super serious, but here I just changed Jamarcus Russell because he was some random guy. But here he is. This is our actual player that we're going to be trying to lead to a Hall of Fame career. Okay, 6'5", 265 out of LSU. He's got a cannon for an arm. We're going to try and turn his career around. Now, the way we're going to do that is by number 1, getting rid of the coaching staff. So I have already done that. I went through. Let's go and check that out. So I fired Lane Kiffin. However, his coordinators did not go with him, and since it's mini camp already, since it's kind of the off season, there's no one really available right now. So what we're actually going to do is go into the season, kind of janky setup. We're going to use a couple of Lane Kiffin's old guys, and then we're going to use our new head coach. Again, he's also kind of a filler, but however, he does run the offense that I want Jamarcus Russell to run. So head coach Gerald Simmons here. He has a couple of dev traits already leveled up. What we're going to do is I'll go over the scheme that I want to start running for Jamarcus Russell. And again, this is what I'm going to run from here until he retires. So you can see we're going to try and run a more West Coast zone run offense. So specifically the playbook that I like using is Mike McCarthy. A lot of shotgun stuff, but a lot of things out of it. Of course, Jamarcus Russell wasn't ever really known for running. So we're not going to do that a whole lot. There are a lot of plays or a lot of read option stuff in this playbook for that. I'm not going to do that though. He is going, his bread and butter is going to be that West Coast scheme. He's going to do short passes and a zone run. So when he develops a little more, maybe we'll change the offensive scheme around a little bit and take advantage of his huge arm. Maybe we'll do some type of vertical offense. But at this point in his career, he cannot do that, and it would not help us right now. So we're just going to do a West Coast zone run, and we're going to try and use our running backs a little bit more. Now, on defense, we're going to run a 3-4. I like to run John Harbaugh's playbook because we run a lot of nickel and dime. So this is the playbook that has a ton of nickel and dime sets. So we're going to go with this and then build around it. You can see our scheme fit's actually not horrible on either of these. However, we do want to get better with this. And in the future, like I said, we might change our scheme to fit Jamarcus a little bit better. But for now, this is what we're going to go with. Okay. Next thing I want to go over is our stadium situation. We did move. We never moved from Oakland yet, right? It's 2007, so we're still in Oakland. We're still at the Oakland Coliseum. It's still garbage. It still has the huge baseball field on it. We're not playing on dirt anymore. I'm not allowing my players to play on that and get hurt. So we're going to do the cheapest option we can possibly find. We're going to go right up the street to the stadium here and play in that. Now you can see, again, rating's not too good on it. That's okay, though. At least it's not a baseball field. All right, and that's going to cover it all. I appreciate you listening. It's a very long video. Just keep in mind, for the future, what I'm planning on doing is half season per episode. So the episodes will not be anywhere near this. They'll probably be around 8 to 10 minutes. But I just wanted to go over the ground rules and everything else on all the settings, just so we can get off on a good start here. All right, and that's going to conclude the introduction to my new series here, the Redemption series for Jamarcus Russell. Until next time.